We are truly grateful that Sir has accepted our invitation to share with us today his remarkable career journey, the motivation behind his success, and his inspirations. Professor Bosco, a proud alumnus of St. Joseph's College, Trichy, holds a master's degree in physics and pursued his PhD in physics on condensed matter. His teaching career began in 1996 while doing his PhD, and on completion of his doctoral studies in 2003, he has become a part of the SASTRA University. Over the years, Sir has published an impressive 374 papers, achieved an H-index of 50, and has recently surpassed the milestone of 10,000 citations. In recognition of his outstanding contributions, Professor Bosco has been awarded the Sapphire Award by SASTRA University and is also the recipient of the Brain Pool Fellowship of South Korea. Sir is an amazing innovator, holding 6 granted Indian patents, 1 US patent, and 10 published patents. We are extremely privileged to have you with us today, sir. This talk series will be led by Ms. Shobana, research scholar under the guidance of Professor S. Trichy. Ms. Shobana holds her bachelor's and master's degree in biochemistry from PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. She has gained valuable experience working as a research assistant in Singapore for a year with the startup company Turtle Tree. Currently pursuing PhD at SASTRA University, Ms. Shobana has contributed to seven peer-reviewed publication journals and has filed an Indian patent. To begin with our program, we kindly request all of you to silent all your mobiles, and also during the Q&A session, please wait till the mic arrives and let us know your name and department before you proceed with the questions. And now I hand over the stage to Professor Bosco and Ms. Shobana with a heartfelt enthusiasm and eager. Thank you.
Once again, a warm good evening to everyone. And thank you for the wonderful introduction, Niveda. So it's a great pleasure having you with us as the first guest for the inaugural episode of SciXchange. So, moving from your professional journey, you've been a part of SASTRA since 2003. That is about 21 years. So how has your experience been being a part of this esteemed institution?
Very good evening. 26th December 2003, I joined SASTRA, and I must say that has been an enjoyable journey with many opportunities and maximum support from every part, from the management, from colleagues, from my scholars, especially our undergraduate engineering students. I was first identified or even recognized by our Chancellor in the year 2006. I met him first time, had an opportunity to interact, and then there was a period of 3 years where I was in a transition from a theoretical physicist to an experimental physicist. And moreover, I was in a completely science background, and then when I was in SASTRA in 2003, first 3 years I took it to transform myself from one domain to the other domain. During that time, the management and Professor Swami sir has established the Center for Nanotechnology. So wherein I got an opportunity to be a part of the Center for Nanotechnology and Advanced Biomaterials because of my specialization on condensed matter physics. So it was very easy to adapt myself. And then, but I was identified as a teacher, and still I want to be first of all as a teacher before being a researcher. And then in 2008, I was made professor through fast track based on the research outcomes. And it was a great surprise, in my career. And then associate in research for my school in 2009. So that has been the journey. And almost I played a role, starting from a timetable coordinator to a teaching lab in charge. And whenever there is a cultural, programs, and I was a part of the faculty team, sports program as a part of the team. So I participated in every, activities in the university. That's why I told I got a lot of, opportunities and support in every part. And then later in 2018-19, under the leadership of our Vice Chancellor, the current Vice Chancellor, I got a great opportunity to work in the initiatives of the university on semiconductor initiatives and taking part in the establishment of laboratories, and also interact with the colleagues across the schools in forming the interdisciplinary research centers and discussing with the student community to establish different clubs, etc., etc. So it has been a really enjoyable journey, and I should say that I love Sastra and Sastra loves me.
This brings me to a question. So, becoming a professor was an induced choice or an inherent choice? Like, were you put to a situation or like you wanted to become?
No, I wanted to become.
Okay. So,
Actually, actually, because I should mention my third standard teacher, like Arul Sami sir. Then, because of his, influence, even in our village when we play, as kids, we used to play like a teacher-student. Then my higher secondary teacher, physics teacher, actually because of him I started loving physics, Dr. Shekhar. Still I am in his WhatsApp group. And at that time I decided I want to be a professor of physics. So since then, of course, my professors in St. Joseph's almost handholded me every, I just after my master, since I was the topper, I was made as a faculty immediately, and I joined for a full-time PhD, wherein I was, everyone treated me like their kid, taught me how to teach undergraduates, how to teach postgraduates, what are the do's and don'ts in the classroom. And in the master's seminar, I still remember, I was handling a topic on tensors. I was giving my seminar. By the time one of the backbenchers, no, don't act like a professor. Then immediately my professor, Anna Subramaniam, he told, he's going to be the professor. So, I don't know, these are all the things, and everything actually has converged that way, so almost it is in the design, I feel.
yeah, a lot of people have motivated you. So could you explain more about your motivation, or the people who have motivated or inspired you, or the things that you were motivated or inspired by? So could you explain more about it? Like somebody would be grateful to.
I must say, I cannot say any one person. Moreover, I have been totally for the last 28 years in the academic environment. Very frankly, I have not been exposed to any other environment. So my teachers, my professors are actually the motivating factors. Whether you take my school teachers or my college teachers, especially, I would say in the undergraduate when I joined St. Joseph's, I was from Tamil medium. And every evening, my professor Berkmans used to wait at the 3:45 in his staff room, and then I will go with my notebook. I used to ask each and every word on that day. Every day he used to spend 15 minutes for me. So I used to ask acceleration, mudukam, momentum, undam, field, pulam, like that every terminology, so that I used to write it on my notebook, and after that I used to go for library. So that was the case. And then my, supervisor, I think one of the most simple, humble and knowledgeable person I met in my life, The way he handled me and the way he taught me, inspired me like anything. And similarly, my almost every professor I can say, the professors who taught me electronics, because I am a condensed matter physics with the specialization in electronics, so that actually helped me the transition when I joined ECE here at SASTRA. And after that, when I started establishing the lab and here everyone has motivated me here in the campus. My colleagues, many of my colleagues. So whenever during the transition, I must mention, say, Swami sir, used to put me in the meetings or in the negotiations initially, that he also knows that I'm a theoretician. But I used to interact with my closer friends like MBL ma'am, and Uma ma'am, Rajan sir. I used to ask, what is this equipment? What is being used for? So I used to do little homework. So almost my teachers and colleagues and are the motivating factors throughout my journey.
Thank you so much, sir. So you also mentored like students across various generations, like those in the 90s to the 2000s. So how do you bridge the generational gap in your teaching, and how do you interact with the current students? So how has the transition been like with the students?
Actually, I joined as a teacher, every 6 months or a year we used to attend the orientation. By that time, my senior professor used to say, the 3 C's are very important for a teacher: communication, commitment, and concern. The third C is actually one of the most important thing. So there is no compromise on the quality of teaching and evaluating the students ruthlessly, evaluating without any biasing or anything. But at the same time, you must have a concern. So and moreover, you as a teacher, even when we go for class, I go for the class today, always talk to me that this is my first class. So this is what told my professor Srinivasamurthy. Then every class is your first class. So since you have been teaching for many years, sometimes the kid is a new kid, they are new to the subject. So that way, whenever I go and interact with the students, even I do practice one thing is that I do behave like a first year student, second year student. When I go to the third semester, I go with the mindset that I am also a third year student. And moreover, in the lab also, I used to tell my scholars, I am your student, I am going to learn a lot when they join my lab. So this is a statement I used to make. So that, you create you first of all clearly explain what is your expectation and what you are looking for and what for you are here, so that we make a very clear communication between, even now for the last 28 years, in the first 2-3 hours. And then inside the class, the relation is different. You see that the punctuality, everything. But when you are outside the class, when they come and when they interact with you, so this makes, irrespective of the generation, of course, there is a change with reference to technology use, or little change before COVID, after COVID. But I think we can synchronize it during our journey in the first week or even 10 days. So I don't find, maybe the chemistry works.
Thank you so much, sir. So you now serve as the Dean of Sponsored Research, as everyone knows, and you've come a long way, as you shared. So how was your transformation? Because transformation is very important for a person. So how was your transformation from being a graduate student to a PhD scholar, and then to a principal investigator, and now to the Dean position, Dean of Sponsored Research? So how was your transformation throughout these years?
Really, very big transformation during the graduate studies, where only I started understanding the subjects in the masters, and then had a lot of opportunity to interact with the people. Then, as I had mentioned, being the topper, and immediately there was no problem in getting, joining as a PhD student. And so where the opportunity, since I was a theoretical physicist, I didn't require any kind of laboratory arrangements. Only one computer was there. So one computer, there were 4 research scholars, so that we used to work it on rotation basis. So wherein, since I was the student of the same college for 5 years, as I told you, whenever I had doubt, I used to go and very freely discuss with everyone, and therefore they used to always, my teachers also used to say proudly, he is my student, now he is teaching with me, now he is part of our team and he is doing research. And in that part, during that part, I must say my Professor Lawrence, he's a completely different person. He asked me to, you go to Chennai, IIT Madras, do literature survey for 1 year. So I used to stay, whenever I get time, 1 month, 2 months, I used to stay in Laila, every morning travel to IIT Madras, and then do survey. And I used to come for every 3 months, discuss the problem with. He will say, okay, can you do some more review? So he will not discourage. Instead, he used to ask me to do some more review. Then I go back, come back. And then he asked me to decide now out of these transition metal dichalcogenides, what are the systems you want to work for. Then he asked me to select the 3 systems, so I selected it. And he never scolded me. So that during that journey, there were many things were helpful. Like I was teaching also, so the management gave me an opportunity to set up a BSc and MSc electronics lab parallelly. Though I was a theoretical student, so in parallel I was establishing the BSc electronics, MSc electronics labs. So a lot of opportunities there, and like as I told you, like I was like a child in the department, and everyone, and moreover, when I was doing my research in the morning, I used to go by 8:30, up to 4 o'clock I will do my research, and then 4 to 8 the teaching assistantship. So my stipend was like, first I started with 450 rupees stipend, and then slowly went down to 4,000 maximum for the stipend. So we used to handle around 20 hours. By that time, suddenly some of professors will be on leave on that day. They will ask me, you go to heat and thermodynamics lab. Some other day you go to electricity magnetism lab, you go to the PG lab, so I go to every lab and learn all the experiments. So this actually helped me to evolve as a teacher, and also helped me to think and correlate multiple branches, and really helped me a lot. And moreover, when I was a teacher, the next immediately, they used to give me initially 2 slots lab and 1 theory. 1 theory again 2 hours, the 3 hours will be handled by a senior professor. So that my professors used to keenly watch me when I was handling. And normally after 5 years only PG level teaching they used to give, but for my case, in 3rd year itself, they asked me to take spectroscopy for Master of MSc there. So that way they looked at. And one example I should say, like when I was in a lab, handling the lab, I was helping the students, and I couldn't get answer on that day. So my professor was on the way. Just I was asking, Professor, I couldn't get this. No, he was so unhappy. He looked at me, and then he went to his cabin, and then the attender Dharmu came, and professor is asking you to come there. So I went there. He started scolding me for 10 minutes. I didn't understand why he is scolding. Then he was telling after scolding, you are my student. You should not have asked the doubt in front of the students. What they will think about my student. So this kind of, I was very fortunate. I am still very fortunate to have. So that was both research as well as teaching. After that, when I came and ended here in SASTRA, and in between I made a presentation in IISc Bangalore and a poster. A professor from IIT Kharagpur came. If you want to continue as a theoretical physicist, please go somewhere, some abroad country, then you may not have a very bright future. So you change it. So anyway, and different inputs. So then I started working on the experimental physics from 2006. But I should mention Professor E.S.R. Gopal, one of the great low temperature physicists who was the IAC professor and former NPL director. I can proudly say he is my senior from St. Joseph. So when I met him in 2001 during my PhD, I prepared a response sheet and I showed the response sheet. And for one comment, the reviewer has asked again revise the paper. So fortunately, he came for an endowment lecture on APJ. So I myself and my guide told, no, he is a low temperature physicist and he must be knowing very well. He took me. Then he told just one statement and then I modified the statement. The paper was accepted. That was my first article, February 8, 2001. In Physics Studies LLB. And by that time, I don't know, it was so, I can't imagine when he was in 2004 in SASTRA, by that time I hear he visited SASTRA as a part of the DST team. And then when I went and wished him, he told, oh, you are here now? Okay, then I was explaining 10 minutes, then he told, I think in which area you are now working? I told I started working on sensors. Then he made such a, encouraging words. So that made me to work on sensors. Of course, after that, SASTRA has given me almost all kind of opportunities to evolve every day. It is every day I got opportunities and of course, utilized to the maximum with the support and my colleagues, my scholars especially. So we started growing, still growing.
So during your PhD journey, did you ever experience a sense of lost feeling or and how did you navigate through it? Because this would help for most of the scholars, I think. How did you motivate yourself?
Frankly, no such a situation occurred. Only thing is sometimes, we used to come with a plan. And my senior professors used to come ask me to go for a lab so that I cannot normally, as per my plan, I didn't, execute certain. That was, but at the same time, I thought that it is an opportunity to learn more. So that way, but still I completed my core work in 3.5 years. Because, for a researcher, there is no clock. So that I could complete in 3.5 years.
So that time, like you said, you had to go to Chennai all the way for your literature survey and all this. So how do you think this generation is blessed? Because at that time you did not have such a sophisticated technology. So how do you think this generation is blessed? Because right now we have most of the things, luxurious technologies, all automated, robotic, etc. So.
Yeah, huge difference in terms of resources. But on one way, too many resources are also, constraints or not good. Everything is there. Like, when we do that, literature survey, to at least get one article, I will have to go to a subject index book for first 6 months, take the 12-digit number, or author index book, and then abstract index book. After that, we used to read the abstract because I cannot take a photo nowadays as you take. I will have to take a photocopy. So I cannot take a photocopy because for other students, in IITM, I will have to pay 1.6 rupees for every page by that time. And for that, my professor has given a recommendation letter. So I showed the recommendation letter. By the time Mr. Kotishwaran was a librarian in IIT Madras, okay boy, he used to say, okay boy, I will give you 50 paise per page. So that still we used to be very careful. We cannot spend, not affordable for spending too much, so that we read the abstract book. Even if you take one book, there will be 100 grams of dust. in each abstract book or that. So we used to take that abstract book. After reading the abstract book, definitely this is a much required paper for me. So we used to write it in the note. Then we will go to the full volume, the back volume section. There, really, so you have to spend almost 1 full day for taking 5 or 6 papers. So at the end of my PhD, I had run exactly around 550 papers throughout my years. But this was in the early, when I started my PhD in 97-90. But 2001, I think, from the Inspect CD was introduced. That was available also in NIT Trichy. If you go and insert that CD for 1 year, if you download abstracts. See, I felt that. When I got this opportunity, I never read any abstract. Just I inserted the CD, copied into my floppy drive. The learning started, definitely now you are getting in the Scopus database and the Web of Science. We type the charge density waves. There are 20,000 articles. I don't know which article I will have to study, which article I will download. So huge challenge. But that was the scenario that helped us to interact more and more with the subject, the hard copy. Of course, many of the people today, love to read soft copy. But I used to be, very comfortable with the hard copy, where I felt that I could get more grasping, underlining, taking a notes, and also I know when I prepared my first manuscript, then all the papers I have used, thoroughly read, and supporting material was there. Of course, when I write my first draft, when I write 20 pages, after my guide reads, it will become 2 pages. So then I used to go back and that way. But now you have everything. And one of my scholars, I don't want to name, once after joining me, published 3 articles. Almost, it was like I trained, I don't know, again, him, her. So after 1.5 years, now I have learned everything. Then I told publishing papers is not PhD. This is only how to write an article. This is what now real research is going to start now. And after that he spent around 2.5 years, totally 4 years, and got the Best Thesis Award also here. But after that, a huge transition I could see. Because people think nowadays, publishing 2 papers is PhD. It is not. But learning all the, even a small, starting from a pH meter to any major equipment, the students should learn every aspect, the working principle, what is the equipment it is, how does it work, and then how to collect data, how to verify data, how to validate data. So, therefore, though the resources are there, but otherwise, I tell you very frankly, in our lab, if you don't consider all these things, a student can complete PhD thesis in 2 months. I'm not joking. They can come and take 4 material, they can deposit, go to the next lab. See, that is where, one more time, we have everything here in the campus. Right. So the next lab, they can go do XRD symptom analysis. Right, and then Raman, what not. Everything is there so that you will be able to write. Chat GPT will give you writing, so you will be able to make a paper, but it cannot make a PhD scholar. How you are actually in our laboratory, we have all kind of practices. So how you interact with your own professor, your own lab mate, and I normally used to allocate 1 or 2 undergraduate or postgraduate students, and then how my scholar treat that undergraduate and post. So this is a practice for a long journey. So therefore, this is a 3 or 4 years. It's a significant period where resources alone cannot make any change. Only the change or the transformation, as you have beautifully mentioned, it should happen in us.
When sir answers this question, I think I saw a lot of smile from all the professors' face in the front. I think it took you to the nostalgic moment what you all faced during PhD, and I think you brought the smile on their faces, sir. So So coming to your hardcore research, could you explain your research in a nutshell, like currently what you're doing on nanosensors?
In a simple way, it is in two words like a surface and interface is what my complete work. One is on how a semiconductor thin film interacts with the environment, so smelly. And then the same semiconductor interface, how it interacts with the biomolecules. This is what in a nutshell the two parts. So one is an electronic nose and another one is electronic tongue. The major focus is only on metal oxides. So how we use in our lab the metal oxides for chemical sensing, biosensing or technical textile. We use the same materials but in a different platform. And application wise, if you look at it, we are working on food, water, healthcare and environment. So these are all the four major areas. So that, as I told, surface and interface is what our major focus.
Yeah. So I'm quite intrigued. Like you say, in creating coming up with sensors for like pollutants, pathogens, blood parameters. This also I saw your publications as well. So this covers like interdisciplinary domains because you need to know about the blood parameters or the pathogens when you come up with sensors. How do you get the information from? Like how do you read about it? Like how do you gain knowledge on it?
So actually we started working only with a vapor sensor when we started, like only for food quality. Then the interdisciplinary environment in the campus, ASK1, we were part of the ASK1 like in 2011 and where we got the opportunity to interact with many and where in 2009-10 I got the opportunity to interact with women. So where only I got actually introduced to the bio aspects. And in our lab, every year we used to have a lab meet, the starting of the year, so that we have our formula, what is for you and what is for the lab. This is a question in front of every scholar. So that in December they used to prepare and January used to have a meeting. Then they will tell this is for my work and this is for the lab. So that everyone will do refer what is the policy which is changing throughout the world. And for example, the different major fellowships like Mary Curie Fellowship, what is the next theme for the next 5 years they are coming out, whether that theme is related, any one of the theme is related to our current work. So everyone will feel like almost all the projects, ongoing projects were completed. And all my scholars felt that we don't have any project. That's the, I am so fortunate to have such a student. So then we decided to have this kind of a mechanism. So we have gone through all survey. So that now same way the similar material, we need not, you cannot jump from one area to the other area. But the same basic principle but can be applied for a different verticals. So that way only we really staggered from food to water to healthcare, and we got different collaborators also as we progress. And as you know, beyond a particular limit, as an individual in the interdisciplinary environment, and also if you want to go with reference to the changing scenario of the expectations and how we move forward. So we need to have really a collaborator. We have to have a very good network. And as a second phase, after 15, 16, my students have gone to different labs. And then everyone started telling from me that, no, this is the same area, only we need to plan for the next proposal, we can work together like this. So I'm again, I'm blessed to have such students, and we have still having the WhatsApp group for all the students who have completed the PhD. And now for the current batch, when I said my student, then they prepared the mask, sent it them. In the next 5 days, they prepared the mask and sent it. And then the one fellow came from Korea, immediately received the mask. They started working on that. So that kind of networking and the collaboration in the local level And also our vision, what we are going to work for the next 5 years in a lab, and what is because in our research lab, I used to tell every scholar when they join, you are a research leader. So no master slave. So you are a research leader, you have to behave like a leader. So we listen to open now, we will listen to them, and then we discuss a lot. That way only actually till now from 2000, I feel 2013 to 2024, that way only we have really staggered from one area to the other area to the other area. And of course, my colleagues in Centab, everyone has extended their support, helped me a lot to, widen our bandwidth.
From your answer, I understand that your scholars have been a great backbone to you for your research.
Definitely.
When a scholar moves out or during their phase of PhD journey, how do you think they should groom themselves? What are the characteristics and how adaptable they should be over their years, and how will they move out?
One thing is that we have actually a set of expectations, in the sense what should be the earlier days expectation. Normally when there is a supervisor and student, there should be an earlier stage expectation, midway expectation, and when the completion stage expectation. So we discussed that actually in the first year. What is the observation, what kind of observation my students make. So we have a set of mantra, so that normally. In addition, always I used to tell this, like the beaver bird, Tukunaguruvi. So we can learn a lot from this bird. Right, it is unique in many aspects. And if you look at it, the nest made by the different birds. If it is open nest, almost always looking towards the sky, very easily will be affected by rain and all other natural activities. But this normally, the nest, this will be looking down. So people immediately, when we were like children, we used to say, no, why this is building this way? The bird, egg will fall down. Like that, we immediately make a comment. But the design, it is an extraordinary engineer. This bird, when you analyze the way it builds, it normally collects a unique kind of the fibers. Even it makes, if you look at it, it takes the nerves of the leaves. It go and pluck the leaf and then take the nerve from each leaf, and then, so it is a symbol of, the uniqueness in terms of designing the nest. And it is very selective in taking the raw materials, the fibers of collecting the nest. Then, it's hard work. Actually, the male bird only used to build the nest. So such a hard work. It used to travel a lot in collecting a similar kind of the fiber material. It used to travel a lot. So normally, this is a statement. When Kalam visited St. Joseph's as a president-elect, he invited the 50 people, young people, and then he was telling. And then he told one, you please in your life, you'll have to travel a lot. Travel will teach you a lot. Which if you want to learn something in a very shorter period, if you travel, then you will be able to do. So this bird actually travels a lot to collect the samples, and also it designs 3 or 4 nests at a time. So it used to be selective. Normally the female will select the best nest, but it is like a camouflage also. So escaping from the attacks from other birds. And if you look at the inside, the snakes cannot enter into the section wherein the eggs are there. And this bird used to collect clay, put the clay inside, and then take the firefly, the minmini puchi. It takes it and keep it inside. When the chicks are there inside for the light purpose, it used to put this. So every research scholar, should be like a Tukunanguruvi, like a weaver bird. So this is a slide, which very recently I gave a talk to scholars, and and this is what, the success, you have plan A, B, C. The plan A, B, C cannot be a plan, your problem A, problem B, problem C, only the methodology A, B, C, so that how you will be able to, achieve the best through different methodologies. So that's why, the student expectations, irrespective of the branches, every research scholar should try to be unique and should have these quality. And more than that, the candidate, the scholar should be a character of the work, of their work. So I used to always tell in the sense are, either you be a metal oxide surface or you be a gas. So when you make a presentation, then you feel that you are a material surface and how you interact, so that you will forget about who is sitting in front of you and who is there. It doesn't matter, now you are a character. You are the thin film. Now what happens when the gas interacts, type of the gas. So then you are started talking to the gas as an oxide. So you are in a different world altogether. You are into the science, and then nothing matters. So that's what you will have to become a character, especially for the presentation.
Okay. I think we've had a lot of serious questions, so and we made you talk a lot, I think. So I'll just give you a few rapid fire questions. Just you can answer it in one word or just one sentence. One person you always hold gratitude towards. One major person. Somebody.
I should say, my father.
Okay. I expected. Which one do you prefer? Publications or patents?
No, it is an outcome. So it is an outcome. So, and if we completely enjoy and the outcome is either patent or publications, good. Both are good. Yes.
Citations. What is your opinion on citations?
A lot of change in opinion now, maybe, as we grow and in the initial stages, we were thinking, in a current scenario, we give a lot of importance to these numbers, which actually indirectly discourages the what you call the fire in these students, the researchers. But truly when we see the citations, right? As I know, last week I crossed say 10,000 citations, and really I celebrated only within my own group. Of course, Dr. Amir used to be every day watching the SASTRA citation number. In 2012, every day myself and Amararajan sit and discuss about the citation of SASTRA. And so he immediately made it, shared in our school group, and we celebrated. Of course, it's truly decided by many people in our research community. Definitely, it is a recognition, isn't it? It is a motivation for you to really contribute more towards your own community.
Impact factor of a journal, is it very important or it has to be considered?
It may be considered. But since it is a variable, which is not controlled by the quality of the article, it is only controlled by now whether the number of citations decides it. Whether the number of citations are made, meaningfully or not, that only decides. But these are all the things which we should consider. The scholars should consider that as a motivating factors. Okay, I'm happy. Okay, it is impact factor is high, I'm happy. If it is low, need not be unhappy. That's all.
Open access journals, because last month we had a talk about it. So your opinion on open access journals? Actually,
all the journals should be open access. The reason is, we are getting funding, we are working hard, and we are writing the article, we are publishing, and of course a community which is taking care of collecting all these things and then doing the peer reviewing, etc. Now the scenario is different. Either it is open access or subscription. Because of the availability of the resources, internets, you will be able to get a paper in 2 minutes from your own network or from your own colleagues. The scenario, when you look at it, the past, we used to write to the author, and then they sincerely send us, they post us 5 papers, 6 papers. It normally used to reach us within 1 month, 2 months. By those 2 months, we used to wait, because the data is important. So we cannot progress during the time.
Social media?
It is a time killer, right? And consciously, I was not a part of, say, before 4 years, and now I'm a part of, say, Facebook, where we learn a lot at the same time, but you will think that you will go be there for 10 minutes and come out, but not possible. So it is really a time killer. Sometimes, some relax, some good events. For me, now some of the events which I can't watch in TV can be seen in the social media.
If you weren't a professor, what would you be?
Frankly, I never imagined about.
So you're like, as a kid also you wanted to become a professor?
After my plus 2, I never thought, and of course, if my niece and nephews listen this question, everybody will be laughing at me. The reason is, after my BSc Physics, and by the time the MCA was on peak, and many of my friends are currently CEOs and CTOs. So in my family, everybody told, no, you should join MCA. Of course, I got the admission for MCA as well as MSc. And they told, no chance you will have to go, and otherwise they will go and get back. But I withstand that pressure. No, I will join only MS Physics. I will do my PhD. I will become a professor. So there was no other thought at all.
Do you think more time in lab gives more success, or it is?
Neither yes nor no. It really depends, right? See, you can interpret either way. If you work a long time in your lab, okay, you can give positive comments. You work a long term in your lab, you can also give a negative comments, in an inefficient fellow, no. So it is not like that. What we do in our stay in the lab matters a lot, right? Learning everything, because in our lab, like for example, though the student is doing on a biosensor work, now normally the other students should take care of the other equipment. They know they are the in charges of certain equipment. So that means they know whether they use it for their laboratory or not, they should know about this equipment working. So automatically they will be learning a lot. And I have seen it now. I'm now not 1 or 2. Many of my scholars who are now in abroad, they feel that since they learned the other equipment during their stay, because of that they are doing the postdoc. So that way only I look at it. So not only by looking at the time, no, doesn't.
Just a few eminent people, so you can just talk about them in a few words. Isaac Newton, like some motivation that you got or something that you read about.
Maybe flow with physics.
C.V. Raman, so C.V. Raman.
He is like banyan tree of science in India. Now you can really see the Raman effect has influenced across the branches, such a significant contribution.
Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, because I think you might be.
For me, no source of inspiration, and on the other hand, he is my senior.
Your PhD supervisor?
No, the simple and humble knowledge leader.
Of course, your PhD supervisor must have played a significant role in your life, and you would have learned something from him, like valuables or principles, and that currently you follow in your lab for your scholars. So, what would it be?
One thing I don't follow is he never scolded me, but I used to scold. But he taught me, the subject and how to supervise a student. He used to give me the MSc students to me, even MPhil students to me. And then he used to closely watch the same thing I do today, closely watch how I am really teaching them. how I take them, seminar. Then when they take seminar, how I react to them. See, I learned one thing from him is that pushing others, for the best. This is what he used to tell me very always, you push others to their best. That should be the nobility of this profession, being a teaching profession. See, when I was teaching assistant, he used to select paper for me. This paper would be good. This will support your. So he took me semiconductor devices and circuits. He used to handle it, and then he gave me that paper. No, you handle it. Now, no, it's okay for me. Now you handle it. And the preparation is unbelievable. He will come to my class, and by the time I never know he is going to be my supervisor. And I used to write on the board as he writes. It's always we used to admire and every, but simple to the core. I cannot find. I don't find such a person, such a knowledgeable person. So that is what I am in. That's what I have been following, and I truly really enjoy the lesson from the principal from my supervisor.
Just a question on your achievements, and a huge applause to you for your 10,000 citations and your granted patents. You have about 6 to 10 granted patents and 1 international. So what is your hidden mantra? How do you achieve it? And you're also commercializing patents. So how would you encourage the scholars, or what would you like to tell them about it?
So the mantra is, I really simply enjoy, and I simply love every day, every lab, and something. We talk to my lab. The lab used to talk to me. I used to talk to lab and my scholars. It is even our WhatsApp group is like a Nano sensor family. So of course and very frankly, from say 2011, where we started really publishing. Before that, we were suffering a lot. Getting one paper accepted in sensors actuators B, normally too much of rejection and dejection. And but after that, we were we made very clear. Our mind was very clear. Like, if you really make a strong protocol, so now that's why every one of our lab people will be designing a very strong protocol rather than worrying about the publication. So that helped us actually to publish good number of papers, so that if there is a protocol for a master student, it is a model where they will be able to really learn and do in a very shorter period, so that they will not worry much about what next. But for a PhD scholar, it's a different scenario where there is a different protocol. Thought that we will publish this many papers and all, but it is we work for the the subject and for the field where we committed, but we are fortunate, we blessed with this number of articles and patents, and it is a teamwork. Definitely, it is a teamwork and a very sincere effort, and also we used to feel that we never being pressurized ourselves. So one thing is very clear: we inbuilt the enjoyable stress in everybody, in every one of the lab mates. So that means that every one of them should feel that we will have to really contribute to myself and to the lab. It need not be that I need to go and tell them. So that actually led to a collective contribution and what we are doing. And regarding the commercialization, the one part which N barrows which we have got, we actually, myself and Dr. Manivannan, we got the big grant, and before that, one PhD candidate, Chandani, was there. She was part of my lab, and she was student of Manivannan, part of my group. So we developed the paddy quality assessment. But very frankly, I should say, I started moving to the other work, but really Manivannan, he took it very seriously, and he made the node design. He went to Chennai, discussed with many people, made node design, and he, realized our dream to be a product. So the maximum credit goes to him. So otherwise, I would have definitely considered as another a prototype which we have made in the lab, but now we are very, confident that now we can make it. So that way only the commercialization. The other ones are now on clinical trial is going.
Just a common question, and I think you would be the right person to answer it as a Nano sponsored research. Currently, it is difficult in getting funding for any project. So, how can someone overcome that?
Sharing only, sharing can really will help each and every faculty colleague to overcome this. See, as our university, really we are one of the leading universities in terms of research, and we have a very good, facilities. And we should be ready to share, we should be every individual PI should be open for other faculty colleagues to come and utilize the facilities. Of course, the university supports. There are a lot of internal fundings here. With reference to, I'm telling only with reference to SASTRA. So internal fundings to support the consumables and other things. With reference to the facility, I think we are in a better position, so we'll be able to meet successfully. I think.
Thank you, sir. Now I hand over the session to the audience. If anybody has questions, as we're running out of time, you can ask like 1 or 2 questions.
So I'm Deepan Babu from SABT. Wonderful session, sir. It's very nice to hear your journey and what you have gone through, all these things. One question, sir. You are selected in SASTRA. What if you are not selected in SASTRA? Where would you have been?
In my alma mater only, right? St. Joseph's. In St. Joseph's.
You have any plans in going abroad?
Yeah, it was actually just after my PhD. I got the postdoc in Germany as well as in Canada, but because of the family situation, I couldn't go for my postdoc. Otherwise, it would have been different. But otherwise, I was dreaming to be a faculty there in my alma mater. Yes. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, sir. Myself, Arun Kumar from SABT. Sir, in your experience, almost 20 years of guiding the students, how you manage the generation gaps, sir? Because initial period 90s kid is coming, late 90s, now 2K kid is coming to research. What do you expected? What they become?
Yeah, I mentioned minimum expectation, maximum happiness. And always we have a presentation in the lab. I normally I used to behave like a student there in the lab meet and the presentation, so that gives them a lot of comfort when they make a presentation, right? And also when we say that, when you ask questions, it is not to know that you don't know, but it actually to help you to go to understand the next level. It is only the concern of the supervisor, right? You teach them the subject, you expect them the best from the student, no compromise on the quality, the standard, ethics, integrity, everything, there is no compromise. But when you have a concern, no, you will have to do this way or that way, right? And moreover, as a supervisor, when we talk to students very frequently, you will understand the student, right? As you exactly told, the behavioral pattern or the psychology pattern of all the students will be different. Some student will be really selfish, will not share anything, so we will be able to handle in a different way. So you will have to observe very keenly, right? Whenever a student is coming into the lab, you will have to imbibe them the culture of the lab. That is very, very important. Right. Now, I used to make this is not the place for selfish people. When somebody, I indirectly make a comment. So you'll have to really put the culture in place so that, people automatically will adapt and come. Whatever may be the generation. And as I told you, we have the certain, do you smell the excellence? Right, from everybody in the lab or from you. So there are standard mantras which you need to really have it for. Of course, every individual, every supervisors have their own model, and moreover, very importantly, you should not, force on a particular student when you are going to be a supervisor. Normally, some problems I see where the supervisor, try to emulate a model where the way he was handled by his supervisor. So they are completely, the two people are different, right? So little adjustment is required. Otherwise, the expectation is the scientific exchange. So if that is being the center point, I know it is little, studying the candidate and then make them to understand the situation and proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. I take a keynote for future endeavors. How you manage the stress, sir? Because research is almost one of the stress, and the family and the career building also. You are part of different aspects as a dean sponsor research in other activities also. How you manage the stress? Whenever I'm seeing in ASK, always with a smiling face, and like that. That's why I'm asking, sir.
Since for that I must really thank my family, my wife and daughter. So my wife is my work-life balance. So that's another blessing, no? So that helps me. Moreover, the word stress, we hear it for the last 10 years, the maximum, right? But when we started enjoying, I love my research and I do. Definitely when you do love and work, definitely you will not feel stress. The stress will be like a professional stress or it will be a pleasure. And when you don't enjoy something and then you are forced to do, definitely that stress you will have to handle. But fortunately, and then my family is also here, right? So she is also a part of Nano Sensors family. So people understand clearly what is going on, why I love to work on extended time, etc., etc. But more than that, the bigger family gives such a comfort environment, home or as I feel at lab. So that helps us. That helps me to end it.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ram Prasad. I am working in the School of Mechanical Engineering. Two appreciations and one question. First appreciation goes to our research team for arranging such a wonderful event. Thank you for that. Second one, as I always appreciate Professor Bosco, sir, that he is a wonderful, fantastic human being, first of all. I remember 10 years back we were discussing about, he is not only a physicist, but he is very interested in mathematics also. I think we have discussed about the understanding about complex numbers, matrices, and linear systems, things like that. Thank you, sir, for that also. My question is that nowadays I am observing research that straight away getting into the experimental world. Now you are having a transformation from theoretical to experimental physics. How important do you think that theoretical background and conceptual way of research before getting into experimental works and connecting them and then bringing out a thesis? What's your take?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think it is one of the answers for the question you made on the importance of the acceptance of our publications is that the theoretical understanding, especially which I had previously as a lattice dynamics person, completely the solid state as well as the quantum concepts are there. So that helps us to really imagine and visualize what is going on in the experimental results when we do that. Now again with the equipment available, you will be able to validate it. So the theoretical, those groups, when though you are an experimentalist, but if you have a strong theoretical connect, definitely you will be a successful, not only successful, but also it will help the team or the members to grow and also stagger in a related area. So if you do not have a theoretical backbone or the support, it is very hard actually to change a little, so it is a must for every group. And moreover, when people wants to publish in a high impact paper, where whatever the experimentation you do, if you could come up with a theoretical model, mathematical support, then definitely it will have the new dimension which will actually help us to really have a very good impact publication.
Thank you so much for the questions asked. And before winding up the session, we've heard that you pursue a lot of hobbies, like creative hobbies, like writing stories, Tamil Kavidai. So we would love to hear one of your Tamil Kavidai. Sorry, running short of time, so we'll hear.
I'll just.
I think we can give her a round of applause.
So I normally, before I used to, before I release any poem or anything, I used to share with Golendi sir. So normally, he is, one of my mentors. Heart-to-heart discussion I used to have, and I used to get a feedback from, and then recently I shared with him and then also with our internal group there. This is again in the background of our researcher. Maybe during any other presentations we will see. Imagination is the key for a researcher. That is what I told. Being a character, you are imagining that you are an electron going this way, like that. So imagination is the key for a successful researcher, or at minimum, normally a researcher. So that way I have written a poem in Tamil for Karpanai. கடும் வறட்சியில் காயா பனை போல சண்டி புயலிலும் சாயா பனை போல. So this I'm talking about the palm tree. So even in the whatever maybe the drying situation, it will grow, and also even there is a cyclone storm, everything, it will not fall down. So கடும் வறட்சியில் காயா பனை போல சண்டி புயலிலும் சாயா பனை போல கன்னி பனங்கருக்கின் கல்லறுக்கும் சுனை போல பன்னாடை தீப்பட்டும் வேகத்தின் வெறி போல கல்லூரிய பனையின் கலிநடன ஆட்டம் போல பனம்பழம் வீசும் பல்லூரும் வாசம் போல கழுதனை அருந்திய காட்டு மந்தி போல பதநீரை சுவைத்த படியா காளை போல படிகமான பனை நுங்கின் தெவிட்டாத சுவை போல பனையோலை வீட்டில் படுக்கை அறை போல கல்பானை நிரம்பும் பனையின் கல் போல கபாலம் கடந்து கக்கும் ஒளி போல உச்சி முதல் பாதம் வரை பயன்படும் பனை போல உலகம் உள்ளுணர மொழியின் உயர் போல. So this way only we have.
It was a very inspiring Tamil Kavidai. Thank you so much for your time, sir. In your busy schedule, you managed to give us 1 hour of your time, and thank you so much for that. And a small token of gratitude from SASTRA's research community.
So thank you very much, Shobana, and thank you very much the Deans of Research, Professor K. Sridhar and Aldin ma'am for this opportunity, and also sincere thanks for everything our Vice Chancellor and
Thank you all for making your presence with us today, and I hope everybody has a lot of things to take and a motivation to carry and an inspiration. And anytime you can ask Dr. Bosco for any motivation or inspiration, and we hope to see you in the next session of our SciXchange to know more about the other faculties in our campus. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. The refreshments are served outside.
I think we can give one big round of applause to Shobana.